And we're on the air.
We're on the air. Welcome to Suzilla. It's Matt and Suzie at Suzie Health Solutions, Wenatchee Insurance, here in the lovely Wenatchee, Washington. 413 North Mission, in case you're curious.
Yes.
So, what brings us here today, my darling Matt?
Well, we're going to talk about ye old backups.
Well, like toilet backups or constipation or having people have your back if there's a problem.
Well, that's your backup plan.
Oh, your contingencies.
Your contingencies.
We talked about that yesterday in our business class.
We did, and it was one of those fun subjects for us because we kind of are like kings and queens of the backup plan B's and C's and D's.
Plan B's always been very good for us. It's just, I mean, we're not perfect. There's definitely some gaps in our coverage, but we're in better shape than a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. When our son was younger, it was a little bit more of a struggle because we didn't have as big a network if we needed childcare situations, but we made it work.
Yeah.
And which is one of the reasons why we created a space for him to come to.
Yeah, and it came in handy 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago.
Yeah,
when
COVID hit. Yeah, and all the kids were like, sorry, you're not coming to school because we don't want you to die.
Yeah, and it really kind of highlights the preparedness of the entire country.
Okay.
Because there were some that, okay, yeah, we can do this. Oh, okay, yeah, it'll cost a little bit. And then there were some that just freaked out.
There were some who were in real dire straits for that. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of different reasons. And a lot of the folks who were in real trouble were the ones who had hourly workaday type jobs. That they had to be there a certain period of time, and but they couldn't take their kids to childcare. They couldn't take their kids to school.
Well, they're okay. Let's reel it back a little bit.
Okay.
The concept of the workaday.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of those jobs that got proven that could be done at home.
Oh, heck yeah.
There was a ton.
Absolutely.
And
a lot of the bosses still go, oh, you still gotta come back.
Yeah, they still freak out over that notion. And that's the time it's like, okay, go shop for another boss.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or do your own. Mm-hmm. If you're trading labor, actual, labor requires your body there, then yeah, you're in a bind for those 8 to 10, 12 hours of when you're physically doing something.
Right.
And that is, honest. It's like, okay, well, if my body's here and my child needs, a body around to take care of them, because we just can't, throw a key at him and say, good luck. Here's your box of ramen for the week. Latchkey kids.
Yeah. But if your kids are littler than latchkey age, then yeah, you gotta have an adult-like person around to make sure they're not gonna.
Even if they're latchkey kids, you should have an adult around just to answer questions and make sure that nothing bad happens.
Yeah, make sure they're not gonna put cans of chili in the microwave.
Yeah, watch the pretty sparks. Yeah. But yeah, having some basic backup plans. It's like, okay, I remember, my mom having the list of babysitters. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, okay, I need a babysitter for this weekend. It's like, okay, call number 1, then call number 2, call number 3. And it's basically the same thing that we do for vendors.
Okay.
I will have 1 or 2 top vendors in any field. Mm-hmm. And if number 1's failing me, I go move to number 2 or number 3. And I interview them on a regular basis. You just got potty mind, don't you?
I went a totally different direction. We're not going to talk about it on the radio.
Okay. And that's basically your vendor management there. Mm-hmm. It's,
So tell our audience when you say vendor, what exactly are you referring to in this situation?
It's anyone who provides goods and services.
Okay. So if it's someone who's putting together our bags or making a sticker for us or, stuff like that.
Yeah, we actually had last year we did rainbow bags for Pride.
They were very popular. People liked them a lot.
And they came back. I actually got contacted about a week ago.
Yeah, I saw that email. Hey, you want to do this again?
And they were offering me for the low price of $3.46 a bag.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And to be fair, the average person that is not designing campaigns has zero concept of how much money goes into these events.
Oh yeah.
And it's just the way it is. It's not their world. Since we run year round, creating positive environments and positive experiences for our clients, bags are one of the things that are on our top list.
Yeah, people love getting bags usually.
It depends. The over 50 crowd, it's kind of I've had too many bags. And then we have the conversation, and it's like, oh, you hear, how about a pen? And usually it's like, yeah, it's like, hey, well, how about this information? This information about your home insurance. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but people get stuff when they leave our office regardless. Bags are a handy way to carry the stuff we're giving them is what it boils down to.
Oh, yeah.
Usually there's paperwork being printed out, and we'll put it in the bag, and then they get a bag. And then they get home, and they got their paperwork, and then it's like, oh, look, here's a pen. Oh, look, here's a flyer. Here, look, here's your business card. Stuff like that.
Yeah, we prepare the customer for more than just the experience in the office or at the event. It's what they take away.
Right. We want them to remember us for future situations, because we're not going to be writing their policy at the event, but we want them to think of us when they need to have their policy written.
Or it could be something serious about like a life insurance. It's like, oh yeah, who was these guys that talked to us about life insurance? It's like, oh, well, here's their flyer, let's set an appointment. And have the conversation. We don't want to be the Ned Needley just hounding you for, you're going to sign a term life policy right now. No, that's just being a bad vendor. It's hitting you on the instant messenger. It's like, oh, hey, you want this policy? No, bro, I'm here to relax. And that's kind of important, engaging your audience and figuring out what sort of expenditures you need on a regular basis. But yeah, you got to plan on, this is what happens when the price of oil goes up, so the price of plastic goes up, so the price of bags go up.
Which is pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna begrudge the vendor. If he'd reached out way earlier, we would have talked to him and seen if we could strike a deal. We went a different route. We still have a nifty little rainbow bag. It's just not as big, so it wasn't as expensive.
No.
They're super cute.
They are super cute, and we took that a lot of that savings and added additional things.
Exactly. We poured it back into other stuff.
Other fun stuff. But yeah, that vendor management is just incredibly important. And that includes space.
Yes.
Because people don't think about it, but events and leasing space, those are vendors.
Yes, they are. I got distracted for a second, so sue me.
Squirrel.
Yeah, and what's new?
So yeah, that contingency of, okay, well, what happens if that failed? One of the things we did with our office, and because we've been at it for a while now.
Yep.
Is we set it up from the beginning to be able to take our laptops, go anywhere where there's wireless reception,
or even not, because we've got the Wi-Fi thing with the phone.
That's what I consider wireless.
Oh, sorry.
And be able to open up the laptop and start.
Yeah, and do the work.
And do it.
And there's even my iPad is actually all set up to do I can't do everything, but I could do most of what I need to do on my iPad that I can do on my laptop when it comes to, quoting and even selling insurance policies, health insurance policies. It's different with the property because there's different moving parts to it, but Yeah, I mean, the fact that we are not set up with desktops, that we're set up with laptops so we can pick up and go, it makes it easier for us to have that contingency plan in the event we have to work from home for one reason or another.
Yeah. Or, your office burns down. What do you do?
Yeah.
Well, we have insurance to pay for the equipment.
And we have all of our stuff in a secure cloud backup.
Yeah. And I've actually had a laptop crash and went and purchased a used laptop from a pawn store and had it up and running within 2 hours to start an application for someone that needed health insurance.
Yeah. And even if we retire one of the laptops, like for example, I swapped mine out a couple of years ago. I still have the older one and all the bits that go to it. If we need, and it still works, it just wasn't working as efficiently as I needed it to anymore. If we needed to fire that sucker up, we still could.
Yeah, we're kind of rely on speed.
Yeah,
when dealing directly with a client.
Oh, absolutely.
If we have to slow down because we have slow connections or slow, we can do that. We can use the old crippled up laptops that we've got.
It's a plan C stopgap is what it is. Knowing that there is something better on the way.
Yeah, because not everyone has a cash stash.
No.
And that's just the large majority cannot handle a crisis of $500 or $1,000.
No, it's not what you want to hear, but it's true.
And if you can't handle a $500 or $1,000, you need to work on additional planning. And that's just because if something happens, you're in dire straits.
Yeah, you could be in trouble really fast. And having that, emergency cash stash, emergency funds is a smart move. It really, really is.
Yeah, but there's some that are going, day in, day out and are struggling.
Yeah. And because they, for one reason or another, are working barely in the black. Their income is just enough to cover the bills, sometimes not enough to cover the bills, and forget saving anything. Yeah,
and that's in that time killer stage.
Yeah.
Because often you're trading time to work on saving funds. And there's a lot of things that you imagine you can't have but can. And the reason why I'm saying this is the safety net.
Okay.
Because we've had a lot of people who have walked in our office over the last decade with a really misconception on health insurance.
Yeah. And then how that works and what it's for. Well, I'm healthy. I don't need health insurance. Well, yeah, that's great until you get bit by a camel.
Or fall off a porch and break your arm.
Or jump in a pool and crack your head.
Or go skiing and crack your leg. We've seen it all. Or diagnosed with cancer. Get pregnant. All these things that normally can't get health insurance outside of open enrollment.
Right. Having a medical crisis does not constitute a qualifying life event. It doesn't get you health insurance. It doesn't open up a window for you to get health insurance.
Yeah. And
that's absolutely not how insurance is designed to work. Insurance is to mitigate what could happen.
And
it's planning it.
It's you're making your backup plans, your alternatives. And one of the things is I've got to point out, and that's for our immigrant community. Way back early in the day of the Affordable Care Act, the Republican Congress put in that, hey, you have to be a citizen or a legal resident to be able to purchase health care on that system.
Correct.
That was a Republican footnote to that. And this year, starting in November, we'll be able to start shopping for plans regardless of immigration status in Washington State.
Right. It is specific to Washington State.
Mm-hmm. We're the first one in the nation to do so.
We have a tendency to be guinea pigs for stuff like that, and I'm cool with that because it's a good thing.
Well, yeah, it gives an option for a backup plan, because before we had you could do it during open enrollment, and there was like one plan that was outrageously expensive that they were eligible for.
Yeah.
If they strangely that was our initial target audience was the folks with tax identification numbers.
Yeah.
Because we saw the huge need 12 years ago when it was just starting to roll out. It's like, oh, this will be awesome.
Yeah. And it didn't quite pan out that way. We ended up, and we used our contingency plan and pivoted. And we still are here. And we're still helping our community. And now we get, in 2024, we get to help more community, which is exciting.
So, yeah, as a business owner or a family, we got these contingency plans. And sometimes, you got to put something back on the shelf. But yeah, insurance, there are a lot of products that are out there that are backups.
Yes.
We shocked our folks with, hey, this is a key person policy. If you go running a partnership, you want to make sure the other person's got a key man policy on them, so that if they die or if they go away, you've got something to replace them with temporarily while you keep going.
While you figure out what to do next. Exactly. Because, it's not having that kind of extra layer of protection is a really good way to help get a better night's sleep.
Yeah. Because there have been points where we just kind of raw dog Leroy Jenkins through things.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, we were one step away from disaster.
Yeah.
And we've been lucky to pivot pretty darn well.
Yeah, I absolutely acknowledge a lot of what we've got is luck and good karma, and the universe tapping us on the head saying you're doing okay, keep it up. You pick it, it fits. And we could go all spiritual and if we want, but the fact is we just kept plowing through.
And it takes this forward momentum to change the status of your life. Yeah.
And it can be really, really scary. It absolutely can. Like Matt said, when you Leroy Jenkins through the world, it's a little nerve-wracking because you just go in there, guns a-blazing, on a wing and a prayer, going, oh, please don't let me get clobbered by this orc.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who are living their lives that way.
Yeah, and it's a scary way to live.
It is, because, there's a lot of people around who die early.
Yeah.
Or get maimed early. And you're like, well, what happened to everyone else?
Yeah, well, they weren't as lucky as you.
They weren't as lucky, because Leroy Jenkins, that's all luck.
Yeah.
All luck for him, and everyone else gets bad luck.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's why Leroy Jenkins is now an internet legend.
He is an internet legend. And however, as we, we've gotten a little bit of gray on, particularly me.
You can see mine's there.
Yeah.
It's just it's my undercoat.
Yeah, your undercoat. So we get a little more patient.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. As I've gotten older, I have less patience for idiots.
Okay.
I don't, it's a whole different conversation. But yes, we are more patient and can wait things out a little more effectively. And that was the direction you were going with that.
Well, it's not just wait things out. It's it really sometimes you want to examine and re-examine something.
Yeah.
And and what you're looking for is you're looking for the timing and the opportunity.
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
and you got to get a little bit curious. Because you got to figure out, it's like, okay, is this really doing what it's supposed to be doing? Is what they're offering me really what they're offering me, or they got a bunch of baggage they're gonna attach?
Yeah, and it's important to be able to analyze that, because if you just jump in higgledy-piggledy, you can end up in a position you don't necessarily want to be in, that you have to, get out of, and that's a whole nother set of problems.
Yeah, and we. A good example is when we set up Wenatchee Insurance, we spent years finding the right person.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely we did. We knew we wanted to go this route for a long time, and we just had to wait for the right person, the right opportunity. And it clicked. I've noticed that's true of us generally. If we wait and are patient, people come into our lives the way they're supposed to.
Yeah. However, you got to prepare for it.
Yes. And we did, because we knew Wenatchee Insurance was there. We had an idea of what we wanted to do. We knew the direction we wanted to take it, which gave us a package to offer to Shayla, and where it wasn't just, hey, come on, let's go build it. Let's go do a show. Let's go do a show in the barn. We actually, we had sets, if you want to use that analogy. We had costumes. We had a package that was pretty ready to go, but needed to put her piece of the puzzle in to round it out.
And then start shifting things.
Right. And then adjusting for what needed to happen next. Tailoring to her needs, tailoring to our needs, tailoring each other's needs together, working as a team, which is, Matt and I, we've worked together for a decade now, and bringing a third person into the office really changed the dynamic. I mean, we can't yell at each other across the office like we used to, because it's just it was different. I mean, we could, but we yelling across the office we kind of got rid of, because it's A, we changed offices, and B, we got a communication tool that was so much better.
Yeah, and we never really yelled across the office at the old place.
Well, did you answer that call? We chat back and forth about we communicate back and forth. But we didn't yell at each other. We didn't normally fight in the office. Occasionally we had a spat, but those those usually happen in the car now.
So yeah,
we're human.
That patience and curiosity. Yeah. Because you got to, if like, okay, if this is the direction we want to go, what happens if I add this vendor to the mix, or do this radio shout out, or everything changes so quickly, and sometimes while it's rushing by, it's like, okay, well, how do I reach in there and grab something,
and not have it bite me.
So yeah, that's the age comes a little bit of patience, a little bit of curiosity.
I guess wisdom is the phrase you're looking for.
See, I've always hated being the voice of reason.
No one's saying you're being reasonable, saying you're being wise. Gray hair brings wisdom.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and ear hairs. That's why old men get ear hair, so they didn't have to listen to everybody. That could be it.
Yeah, because I actually used the phrase on our son this week. It's like, yeah, just wait till you're 50 years old and you see what I see.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah. So yeah, having backup plan, and it's stupid backup plans.
Yeah.
We were looking at, one of the things that Suzie mentioned over the last place was we have dumpster space.
Yeah.
Because there was points at one of our old facilities where it was frequently the dumpster was overfilling, and we didn't have any place to put our office trash.
Yeah, we do now,
which is awesome.
And we've been known to pack it pretty good, but we're not mean about it.
But that's you. The average person going in is like, oh, I don't know this. You don't know if your roommate's gonna take off their stinky socks and drop them in the living room floor until they start doing it.
Sure.
And then it's like, okay, yeah, I gotta say something about this, or this is gonna be nasty for a long time.
Exactly.
And
So it's a matter of just being honest.
yeah, having the honesty and looking at things and evaluating, and it's like, well, what, and asking questions. What if? Well, what if this happens? What if you can't go here, so you go there?
Exactly.
You dodge.
You dodge. Dip, dodge. Was it dodge? Dodge, dip, dodge, something. I remember dodgeball thing.
Yes.
I don't remember the whole
Average
thing.
Joe.
Yes, and I don't remember the whole rhythm. There was 4 bits and dodge was twice.
Dodge, dip, duck, dodge.
See that?
Yes.
I couldn't remember.
Average Joe.
Yeah, you are. You're not average, dear. Like it or not, you are not an average Joe.
And yeah, that's one of the things that we play with a lot is that we jokingly refer to that I'm from Quincy.
Yeah. We're nobody special. We don't do anything interesting. We just take care of people, which is true. And we just do it really, really well.
Yeah, and that's one of the unassuming nature that we project.
Yeah, because we are unassuming people in our real lives, as human beings, we are unassuming people. We're not really larger than life, only in the sense that we're not tiny frames.
I think a lot of people who talk understand on how big we are.
Okay.
Or they start seeing what we do.
Yeah.
Up close, and it's like, oh my gosh. We tend not to do the whole Instagram famous thing.
No.
And that's probably some of that's to our detriment. Because people really don't see us doing victory laps as much as we should.
Well, that's I think, I don't know. It seems like victory laps are just tooting your own horn, and that just seems. It doesn't. I don't know. I have a tendency to live a more humble life when it comes to that kind of thing. I'm not a big person about shouting how awesome I am from the rooftops. I'll shout everyone else's awesomeness from the rooftops, but I was always raised with a deep sense of humility.
Yeah, and the problem in today's age with running a humble or false humility, particularly when you're in business, is you get lost.
Fair. I mean, I don't think what I do is. I mean, I'll take credit for where credit's due, but I mean, I think it's a superstitious nature of me. If I get too proud, I'll lose it. I'll lose it all. It'll backfire. Karma will smack me in the head, say, "Stop it."
You'll have to use Plan B.
Yeah, well, you make it work.
Or Plan C.
Yeah, and that's what this is all about: contingency plans.
It's contingency plans, and it's. Sometimes you go down strange routes and you don't know why until it's like, oh yeah, I had to do that. So let's end it on that.
That's a good spot to stop. Thank you so much for joining us today on Thursday at Suzilla. Join us again next Thursday and we'll do this again.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.